So Rebellion Pro 2 at the top, Metaspeed Sky 1 in the middle, and then RC Elite 1 on the bottom.
I have the Sky and on the Edge. The Edge it's poppy. I love it.
So
It doesn't feel fast, but like split wise, it's by far the fastest of any super shoe.
anything with a
For sure.
drastic tip to it does not work for my stride.
You don't like that, where it's just like popping you back up?
No, like Vaporfly feels bad on my stride.
Same with
Like
me.
Alphafly feel like this Metaspeed Sky was made for my foot in my stride.
Interesting.
Where same thing, I don't feel fast, but it feels like it just makes me better. And then the stopwatch says you're faster.
Yeah.
But the Edge is it's
it feels that way with a
uncomfortable
lot of these.
for me to run in.
Describe the difference,
right?
Tyler, because I'm curious, because I'm considering just trying the Edge just for a comparative, because I like the Sky. So what's the difference? Talk
You
me through
can
it.
definitely feel the ground more. Like it's not like an Alpha Fly where you're just running on a cloud, but it feels like you land and you're back up. You land, you're back up. So you're not getting these big, powerful strides. I mean, this is exactly what the marketing says, right? But I think it actually comes through that way where you're just clicking off your strides, your cadence stays high. And honestly, that comes to like on the fatigue level, when you have these big opening strides, I think that type of runner is more prone to like a complete fall apart versus you keep your cadence up. You can just keep clicking along.
I
So
can
I think the
speak to
Edge,
that.
like, I mean,
can
that's a
speak to
whole
that.
different, we're veering down a whole different route there. But
So
I just like something where it keeps my cadence up.
I think I've realized the importance of that with the extended work on the roads that I've been doing recently, which is actually pretty new to me, to go and put like 15 miles on a quality day on the roads. When I break down, I overstride and my cadence drops for sure. I thought it would be the opposite. So I'm wondering if that would be beneficial. I was looking at videos from grandmas and how slow my turnover got. It was like I was just bounding and slapping the ground. That's so damaging. So I wonder if a cadence shoe would suit me well, but I wouldn't know it until I knew it.
Yeah, you
Right?
can't test these things, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't think the Edge is actually good for the marathon because there's just not enough there.
Right.
And so when you do break, I mean, that pounding is going to catch up to you.
It's interesting
So
because
kind of
the Edge and the
the worst.
Vaporfly, I fatigue too quickly in because I am not a high cadence runner, and you can only run one way in those type of shoes. Like it must be turned over in, or it's like you would call it, Kirk, almost like a braking. If you're not turning over in it, it's not helping you. And it costs me so much to turn over like that. Like I'm better in it right up until I'm worse. And that happens sooner than in a loping, bouncing based shoe. So it's interesting. It's like absolutely like dependent upon what your body wants.
Did you guys ever run much for roads in the like pre-super shoe era?
A lot.
I mean, that was like it's a totally different sport. I mean, marathons was a totally different sport. It was, these track guys who are just fast 10K runners, it would translate 25% of the time to the marathons. Because they would just be running 7-minute miles at mile 22 and their just legs would be wrecked.
I feel like every conversation with these buddies before long races, like if you roomed with someone or shook out with them, it'd be like, do you think I can take X shoe to blank distance? That's all the conversation was. Like, I love this shoe, but can I take it half marathon? Can I take it a full 10K? That's not the question anymore.
Yeah, a little bit with the Edge, right?
Although the newer edges kind of became softer than the newer Skies to some people.
I haven't tried those yet. The brand new ones,
like the Paris was significantly softer than these, and then apparently what's next now, the Tokyo is a different feel as well.
Yeah.
Tyler only knows about bikes and bike components right now, and all the cross training. It's going to be a whole new wave of shoes for you, Tyler, as you're ramping back up.
It's true. I mean, I already have like 10 pairs of super shoes in my basement, all with like 40 miles on them. So gotta go through that before I can try anything new.
Why don't you talk us through? Because I don't know the full story with you. I know that your Achilles has been an issue for you. It's been sort of plaguing you for years, is how I understand it, correct? And then you ended up either taking time off or getting surgery on it, or where, because then you came back to running, but then you had to take more time off. Like, what happened?
Yeah, it's been a saga. It's been probably 5 or 6 years since like the exact origins of it, but like the first 3 of that, I'd run a long run, it'd be tight walking around the rest of the day, and it didn't impact training at all. And then it kind of like finally bubbled up to the point where I needed to do something about it because I like couldn't double without just limping for the first mile. Or it's been a while since I could take a step walking out of bed in the morning, right? Well, I can now, but at the point where it was getting when it was really bad. And so before the trials, I kind of needed to do something about it, but it was a bad time for it. So I went through the trials. And then after the trials, I decided finally to get surgery on it. And it got to the point where like I've been running on it so long that it looks like there's a golf ball on my heel. Like you can visibly see just all the scar tissue that's been piled up over the years. And so there were a couple of routes that we could do there. It was, if you look at an MRI, there was like 4 things wrong. There was semi-Havens deformity. There's a ton of scar tissue there. The bursa looked really bad, and there was like a partial tear. And so kind of going over it with the doctor, the plan was, let's just go in there, cut out some of the scar tissue, free it up, and then just give it a chance to heal, and hopefully we'll be good. So that was October last year, got that done, came back to running, ramped up. Everything was like, it still hurt, but the doctors were like, yeah, it's fine. It's supposed to hurt. And then it finally got to the point where we're like, yeah, I don't think it's supposed to hurt like this. So got another MRI. The tear had gotten a little bit worse. It was like getting sent through the tendon at that point. So shut it down again, PRP injection. And that was probably about 8 weeks ago now. And this time I'm very optimistic. I'm in no pain. I can wake up in the morning. I can walk. It seems like maybe it worked this time, but I mean, I still got to be so patient. Like, you know how these things go, right? Fitness comes back 10 times faster than the injury that's your bottleneck, right? And so I could go start pounding hard workouts right now. Like, I'm decently fit. It's just, I just gotta play the waiting game. And August, I'll start like light workouts with the girls and then transition a little bit. Probably won't start running with the guys on the team until October, maybe. And then hopefully by CIM, I can knock out a trials qualifier and make it back to my 4th trials. But can't get ahead of myself, right? Because I'll end up back in another 8 weeks. I mean, stem cells or something this time. Who knows?
Prosthetic.
Yeah.
So,
or just biking, or just professional biking.
As long as we started on the topic of shoes, when did the
Yeah.
Achilles pain first originate in comparison on your timeline to when you first started in carbon shoes?
It's exactly the same. I'm convinced.
This is it, right? Like back
Yeah.
when the new thing was minimalist, it was metatarsal stress fractures and lower leg stress fractures. And now with and everyone either got healthier or they didn't. And then now with super shoes, it's like everyone gets faster if your Achilles and calves handle it. Like that's the new stress fracture, is the Achilles from carbon issue.
It's crazy we don't have data on that yet, though, because it's like, it just makes sense, right? You don't let your foot do its job. You put a board under it. All that stress goes to the ankle. Like, why wouldn't it? Right?
Yeah. And it doesn't seem to travel past that for most people.
Yeah.
So that's frustrating. So now your return to it, are you having to prescribe not only running volume and intensity volume, but carbon volume?
I don't know. I haven't worn him yet, but that's definitely going to be a factor here. I don't know. I guess I don't know yet.
So this is now just, I'm veering from what we've seen to what I'm extrapolating. Do you know of anyone who has Achilles problems who is an Adidas stan?
He was what?
An Adidas fanboy, like only runs in Adidas. Like they have a deal with them or they only run in it. Do you know anyone?
Reed Fisher had some issues.
He did.
Get some PRP.
Okay. Because I wondered with their rods that are more flexible, if that was alleviating some of it. But Nike seems to, unfortunately, be the worst of it.
Looks like I need to buy another pair of super shoes. Give the Adidas a try.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only logical answer.
Yeah. Gotta convince the wife on that one.
Mm-hmm.
She says there's 10 pairs of valid ones in the basement. No, but that definitely could be an option.
I don't either.
Honestly, I'm just hoping I can find a path here to like not flare it up again, but that could be one of the routes. I'm just thinking I'm not going to work out in super shoes much because I mean, Saucony has a super shoe without a plate, right? And a couple other brands at this point.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
Are you talking about the speed?
No, what do they have? They have the endorphin. Is it the endorphin speed? What is it called?
They have the
don't know
endorphin
if it's-
speed, but they have their new, is it endorphin max? What is it?
Look it up, shoe guy.
Oh, look.
Where are you at with your? I saw you ran recently, so you're just starting again, huh?
I did 20 miles last week. I did
Oh, you did?
5 miles running.
Okay.
I did a little bit.
The tricky, no, I mean, you've obviously been cross training, which I respect. Seeing your rides pop up. As I messaged you, I had 5 straight months of road biking with 2 foot stress fractures. This was back in 21. And knock on wood, I've been relatively healthy without any major breaks. But that becomes a grind, man. And I remember that first quality run session back after having 5 months off and the not taking impact. Like, it comes back quick within like weeks or months, but it's very humbling initially. Like, bike fitness, I found it very little translated to my run fitness or economy. They're like,
No, I'm not even doing it for that. I'm doing it for sanity. And I
Yeah.
won't bike inside. I'm just biking outside. And just honestly, I don't think it's a grind at all. It's literally just like it's fun to keep me sane.
are you
It's-
pressing on the bike? Like, are you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing like see my best is like 40 miles at 23 miles an hour.
Oh,
So I'm grinding out there. I'm not wasting my time, but I am wasting my time as far as running fitness goes, right?
See,
Do
we
you think-
believe it'll be waiting for you.
I do think it'll be waiting.
You're like there. Like I'm not, it's not there.
No, I believe like the
They
fitness
can't
you're
hold their
building
air.
will matter, just not
Right away.
when you come back.
Those fitness bank
I-
deposits are buried real deep down in there somewhere that you can't access right away when you
So
return.
here's the danger I think with biking, right? So it's like very quad, right? Running, you don't want your quads to be too much stronger than your hamstring. You ever seen those studies where they do like quad to hamstring ratio and how that affects injury rate?
I've seen stuff on it.
Yeah, I don't know the exact numbers, but basically, if your quads are way strong, your hamstrings are weak, you're predisposing yourself to have an injury rate, which makes sense, not an economical stride. And I think that's kind of my biggest fear when it comes to cross training. It's like you're really making one area strong and you're opening yourself up to these imbalances that just kind of keeps you in injuries.
So what are you doing to balance that?
I'm in the gym a lot. I mean,
Okay.
I'm doing like Nordic curls and hip stuff and glute stuff. And
You have anything high rep to try to balance out the high rep cycling?
no, I mean, I'm wearing clips too, and I'm trying to consciously like pull up to get that other end of it.
Right.
But honestly, drawing, not counteracting it. And I'm going to try to back off cycling as I might be running here. It's just like try to let my body get back into that kind of that efficiency.
Yeah. It's a
What I
hard one to
found-
balance out.
Or I find is like when you start taking impact again regularly, it's like all the old stuff that you also forgot about was along with your Achilles. Like, I was predisposed to shin problems, and ramping up after 5 months off is like my shins were actually what held my mileage back to start because they were bad. And then it's like, oh yeah, the hip thing too that hadn't taken impact. It's like all those weird little things that you forget because the Achilles was the MVP of your injury. Like, oh shoot, yeah, like I do have that hamstring insertion problem or this. It's like all that stuff will have like a whole cycle of popping back up. At least that's been my experience and people I work with. I'll be curious if you're just, running off and just everything's great, or you're going to experience that.
Yeah, it's funny. The narrative I've been just telling myself over the last like few years is I can run 140-mile weeks, every part of my body except that right Achilles.
Huh.
We'll see. We'll see if that proves true or not. But that's kind of like the frustration I've had is I can do this level of training everywhere can handle it except that one spot. But I've taken enough time off, and this has been my lowest volume year in the last 20. So we'll see. I mean, not 20, that's an exaggeration. 32. So I think I was doing this when I was 12, but we'll see. I mean, maybe the game has changed here because I'm getting older and I have that long time where you can use it, you lose it, things start to get weaker. So We'll see. I'm being conservative. I'm playing it slow, trying to listen to the body.
So you have your, what is your, is it 140? What's your ideal racing volume? Not while racing, but pre-competition. What is your ideal?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I did, the most I ever did was I had from 6 weeks to 3 weeks out, I did 140, 140, 130, 140. And that wasn't a good race, but it was like a hot Chicago year. I think I ran 222, just blowing up. But it's so hard to know, right?
Uh-huh.
Like you do a training block like that and you have a bad race. And then you do another training block, maybe you do less mileage and you have a good race. Is it because you did less mileage, or did you build an engine and you're just carrying that
Right.
through? It's so hard to know with any of this stuff, right? Like the last year. So, all right. So my college coach, he always would bring in 5th-year seniors, and he had great success with 5th-year seniors. There was one year he was at Oklahoma before he came to Iowa State. And when he was at Oklahoma, he had 5 sub-4 milers indoor one year. And that was like before Portland was, or is it Portland or is it
Washington.
Washington. Before they were doing their stuff. This was like very unheard of. F4s, 5 sub-4 milers on one team. And what he said they were doing is, or heard from one of the guys directly, is all they did that winter was fartleks and tempos, and they never ran faster than 60-second quarter, and they never actually got even close. They did like 75-second quarters for most of their stuff, and they were like amazed. They're like, this is the new training plan, this works. And it's like, it's not that works, it's the fact that you overtrained for 4 years and then you finally have a coach who just letting you recover, and now you all break 4, right? So I think it's hard as runners to not just extrapolate, this is the new thing I should be doing. Because if those milers, they keep doing that for the next 5 years, they're probably going to get worse, right? And so, how am I getting to that? Where were we?
Well, I think you're saying things don't boil to the surface immediately.
Yeah.
It's like,
The 140. I don't know if the 140 is the best for me. I felt the most fit at that time. And just because the race didn't come together doesn't mean that wasn't it. But I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm in a totally different, like, second stage career here, where I don't know if I can run 140 again. I don't know if I need to run 140 again.
Right.
And we'll just see where it goes.
It's really difficult, especially at the marathon level, because you only get so many cycles. And each one definitely impacts the next one, because we all know what a great, like in high school or college, a great off-season base build can do. Like there may not be a better base build than marathon training. And so, like you said, a bad Chicago race might have been the best cycle for your next race. But it's not like you get to do 5 or 6 of these builds a year and get all this data and move on from it. You do have to play some guessing games. And feeling fit is a byproduct of believing you're fit. And a number tells you you're fit. So it's always tough to say, like, do I feel fit because I know I just completed a monster week on top of a monster week? Or do I feel fit because I'm like more fit than I've ever been? There's too many conflicting variables here. And in the marathon, you don't have like a quick turnaround to the next one.
Yeah. No, and honestly, when I ran my marathon PR, I was just talking to, at practice this morning, I was talking to my buddy Kevin. We both ran in 2020, we ran the Marathon Project in Phoenix, that little race they put on during COVID. And I was injured, I think 8 weeks out from that race. And I did not feel like I was fit going to that race. I think 2 weeks before, I finally had one good fartlek. I ran with Kevin, and we did like 5:06 average for like an 80-minute fartlek, something like that. And I went on to run 2:12, but I look back on that, and I told Kevin this morning, I was like, I wasn't even fit for that race. That course was just unreal fast. Like, it's not a real course, right? And Kevin's argument back was, just because you didn't think you were fit doesn't mean you weren't fit. Maybe you were just coming in at the perfect time. So I think that's a fair other side of that coin, right? Is when you think you're fit, usually you're overcooked, right?
Yeah. I think that was my experience a little bit. I think if you could hit the marathon on the ramp up, be like, surprise, you're racing 6 weeks out sooner than you thought. Be like, oh shit. And you'd probably pop one then. Like, are you kidding me?
Grandma's is kind of a brutal day, and it is
It was a
2 out
bad
of
day.
3 years. It's a brutal day.
Yeah.
People think Grandma's is great. It's not. It's always. I read that.
And it's not that friendly. Like
Mhm.
you're rolling the entire time. Like as far as like terrain goes, it's very, I mean, it's still rhythm running, but like I felt like there's slight grades constantly, one way or the
Yeah.
other. Yeah, it's just a interesting
It's not
course.
that fast of a course. At least
I don't
you
think
know.
it is.
It's not. Well,
Yeah.
that made me think though. Back in and I've told people for years, I race best when I'm in like the pre-sharpening stage. College, it was the classic run all summer, college cross country, or the track guys for just running their workouts with them a few times a week. And then winter, early spring strength interval work, and then sharpening down to race speed. And I'd always run my best when we were running a distance or two above what I was eventually going to cut down to. As soon as we started,
So off the base block, you think you rated best?
well, like just prior to that. So it's like cross country would really be based for, I was an 800, 1500.
Yeah.
So off cross, I could run well. And then we get to like December, January and do a lot of 3K mile stuff. And I could run great off that. And then we'd finally start doing faster than race pace stuff. And I'd be like, I am so fit. But in reality, I was cooked. And so I
That's
always,
interesting. I always felt that way in college as well, where it was like after the base phase, before we got to sharpening,
Yeah.
I feel the most fit. But I always thought that was like I'm a slow twitch guy,
and I was
so
a fast
I
twitch.
respond. So yeah, I would think the exact opposite for you. I thought you would just like peak with the speed work.
Well, and I think I
Maybe my
would
guess.
have. And I told people for years, like, I don't respond to peaking the same way. So my safety net is just plan the whole build and it stops at the end of that. And I don't sharpen. And that's when I race. But the reality was I just ran everything too hard in college. And so
Yeah.
the 3K mile work was peaking me. I was, in terms of like, I wasn't reducing volume, but I was overreaching a little bit. And I was like gaining real tangible, like last minute fitness from it. And there was nothing to sharpen down after that point. I think I probably would have
Yeah.
responded to sharpening if I had come into sharpening appropriately fatigued.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
So, but anyways, for years, I was like, I just don't respond to that. It's like, well, maybe I'm just running all my workouts too hard.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it's kind of just going back to what I said is right. Like,
Yeah.
you learn your lessons over a couple of seasons, and those things you learn, they may have been true then, they may have not been true then, but over the course of the career, I mean, how long have you guys been running? Like, same amount as me, right? Like 15,
6th, 7th grade.
Yeah, right. Like
30
over the
years.
course of a career, these things change, and you can't kind of live with these baseline assumptions.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, if we're gonna divert back to kind of what I was trying to tell Kirk over CDMs the other day is, I mean, I always felt like in college I was a very injury prone guy. I mean, high school too, college, my entire college career. I mean, my 5K PR was 14:57 coming out of college. It's not that good of a 5K. I mean, it's awful for a D1 program, right? Like even back then, when times were slower, 14:57. I should not have had a scholarship at Iowa State, right? But that's just because I was injured twice a year the entire time. And I think I was able to get out of that injury cycle by, I had a coach that brought me down, and you're not doing 110 miles, you're going to do 70. And then the next season, you're going to do 75. And just slowly getting back to that 120, like giving my body enough time to adapt to it. It made it so I wasn't injury prone anymore. And so that's kind of what I was trying to tell Kirk. And I mean, I don't think it's something that's going to happen overnight. And I don't think, whatever, there's a lot of other factors there. But I don't think you need to let the fact that you think you're injury prone hold you back and you have to train a certain way forever. Maybe for now, but like you have to train a certain way forever with that knowledge that you're an injury prone guy, because maybe you were in the past, maybe you are now, but that doesn't mean you always have to be in that injury prone box, right?
I haven't been as of, I mean, this last handful of years, to be honest. No. So I don't even look at myself that way anymore. The recent month lead into grandma's just came out of left field. All of a sudden, I was like, you were fine. And then I wasn't. It was an interesting, I've actually been taking it for granted. Brakken knows how injured I'd been for years. It was probably a twice a year cycle, just like you had in college. And I wasn't even a high volume athlete. And then this thing just, side as they do sometimes, just all of a sudden it was there one day, and you're like, you got to deal with it, right? And then you have to question the lead up and how you got there and why. And it doesn't even have to make perfect sense. But yeah.
Well, Kirk, you're an interesting case study because you've been running since 6th grade. You're 42. But
I am.
At the same time, your uninterrupted training age is 4? 3? Like you never, this is your longest uninterrupted stretch in your life. And
100%.
you stab the ground when you run. And so I believe super shoes were made for people like you. Like you had lower leg stress fractures because you were punching the ground with your feet every stride. And now you have foam that blocks a lot of that and redirects it. And so he's saying your rules probably are different, but you have.
Can I run this theory by you?
Yeah.
Okay, so Kirk has been talking about this knee injury as if it's something that the marathon build caused.
Okay.
And it very well could be, but looking at it a different way, he's doing hard squats and split squats and all this stuff that's just wrecking his quads all the time, right? 2-3 times a week. I don't know how much you're doing it. You're doing that.
Only lower body work one day a week. But when I hit it hard. Yeah, I don't do legs more than 1 day a week. But yes.
But then you add in the treadmill incline stuff, which puts more on the quad. And you get to the point where your quad is fatiguing, and then you do a marathon type workout. And if your quad isn't able to do its job, it's putting more load onto the knees and causing potentially a knee injury. So we can look at it as a different way and say it's not the marathon workout, because if you go into the marathon workout with fresh quads, it can keep your structure the way you need it and not put that stress onto the knee. Is that a fair theory?
I think it is. I think it's funny, and I don't know if you heard my reply to your questions or statements to Kirk on the.
I did, yeah.
And it's
I
interesting.
don't listen. I heard you with him.
Okay, well, it's interesting because I hear both of yours, and I think you're both right, and you both are constantly on a ship, and you're trying to catch each other's eyes, and the platform you're standing on is going to keep you slightly skewed in how you're looking at the same. So your theory about him coming in fatigued is 100% correct. But your assumption of leg fatigue is based off of a marathon runner's lifting damage. Whereas a heavy lifter takes very little actual damage from it after 20 years of heavy squatting. So I think Kirk's more fatigued coming into workouts than he thinks he is. And I think the lifts are taking less out of him than you think they are. Because he has, it'd be like you telling someone, getting to my 20-mile run, having done 100 that week, isn't as stressful as you think it is. Because 100 miles don't take as much out of you. I don't think split squats take as much out of him as they do out of you. But the reality is you're right still. So even if you're even if he has 20% less stress than you think he has from it, it's still probably 20% more fatigue coming in than he thought he was bringing in. So it's just interesting hearing you two talk about it from two different perspectives and both kind of being right at the same time. And I feel like you two balance each other out really well.
Well, we haven't had a real discussion about this, by the way. So there's no ship or teeter totter or whatever. This is the first time we've had a real conversation about this.
But you ask a marathoner, how much does squatting take out of you? And the answer is 100% of what they felt to take out of them.
Well, and even look at Jakob Ingebrigtsen, just because he's been putting his stuff out there in his quarter squats, right? He's doing no damage. He's just putting tension on the joints. He's not really creating damage. He's facilitating power, but he's not wrecking his quads when he goes down 5 inches with his squat or his 6-inch deadlift or his lunges in which he goes, not even halfway down, right? All he's doing is loading. I mean, really, he's loading joints, putting some muscle tension on and creating no real structural damage. To be doing full rep ranges at heavy weights where you're in a compromised position while pushing against gravity, yeah, there's going to be damage created. There's no denying that, whether I'm tenured or not. Right? Why do you think Jakob Ingebrigtsen, strength coach, says you're going to quarter squat and it's going to look really stupid on the internet, but you're going to run circles around all those people who criticize you?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a whole nother door to talk about.
It's a whole other.
How deep do you need to go to drive adaptation and avoid shearing forces? And when you get to a tendon tearing, there are shearing forces at play there. So that's its own thing. But I think Tyler is absolutely right that you probably brought more fatigue into your workouts, which are designed to pre-fatigue you in the workout. Like a marathon workout gets you pre-fatigued during the workout. You
Hey,
pre-fatigue.
Kirk, we don't feel like I'm coming at you here. I've been listening. I'm on board with all the
No.
work, and I'm rooting for you. So I'm just trying to help.
And then the second
No.
part of that, which I think he's probably alluding to as well, is that at the volume you're running, you have a much higher percentage of volume at intensity than he does.
100%.
15 to 22 mile quality day hits different on a 60-mile week than it does on 140. So I think that you guys are touching upon the same thing from different sides of the coin, which is how much fatigue did I bring into a stride that then had to function under further fatigue?
Yeah, and even the knee
We need to
aside.
carry that a little further. Right, how you mentioned like you think Kirk's stride, he's slapping the ground. How much
I'm
is that?
stabbing the ground, Tyler. I'm stabbing it. Like
Stabbing.
Like
I'm
it
stabbing
almost
it.
comes in like you're nosediving a plane. Like he doesn't slap. He
That because of the weightlifting, like that's created a certain power output, putting power into the ground, and that's almost a negative because you don't need that sort of power to run 448 pace for a 5K.
You do
Is
not.
it just the plethora of power that's causing just
Do we have footage of young Kirk?
It's definitely the plethora of power I have in my body that is my problem. I like that.
Do we have
you
stride
know,
footage of you?
roll that chip over?
I have stride footage of me in high school as I was developing, and you wouldn't even recognize you wouldn't even recognize my biomechanics.
Like my stride now is a cleaned up version of me. And there's a 9th grade cross country video and I run in it and you're like, that's definitely little Brakken. It's cleaned up. It's better now, but like the flaws are the flaws. They're just more compact. I didn't know if you look the same.
You know what sucks about what Tyler has to say is that he's right in the sense that when I go south in a training session, it's like my quads are separated from the rest of my body and it's so isolated there. It's like, that's gone on me. It's my quad. My quad will be what goes. Like in the marathon, although that's a whole thing in itself. It was like my quads were gone. They're toast. They weren't available to me to do anything with anymore, which is funny because they're stronger than Tyler's. That never happens to Tyler. Why is that?
Well, it does, but
you understand what
I might argue that like because of the muscle imbalance you created, you have a stride, it's quad dominant, right? You're not distributing that.
But that's great news. Like it doesn't suck that Tyler's right. It means like, all right, we have a course of action.
He's not going to do it. You have to be all buff and look good.
Listen, if you'd go on national TV with your shirt off at any period of time in your life, and you might change your tune a little bit, Tyler. I want to back us up. Can I back us up just for a second? Because the point, what I wanted to do today is I wanted.
Sorry, right.
Well, no, that's okay. That's what I want. Ultimately, I wanted to end with this conversation, but I wanted to paint a picture of like pro marathoning 101 because you've been involved with Minnesota Distance Elite for how long now?
The whole time Lunda's been coached, so it's been 8 years.
Okay, so a while, and I've heard nothing but great things about him, his coaching, him as a human being. Like, there's a lot. Obviously, whatever's been going on they've been getting it right between Annie and Dakota, and you have Joel and a whole host of others who are rising to the top of the marathon scene, and it's trickling down into some shorter events too. And you've been around that for a while and kind of been with the uprising of Minnesota Distance Elite, right? Like the respect Minnesota Distance Elite has today is higher than it was 8 years ago. That's probably safe to say, right? Based on what he's done with the program. Yeah. So you've been around high level marathoners and being one, including yourself. And it's not like I need you to tell the ingredient list to the secret sauce, but really like this is selfish curiosity as like a week in the life and general philosophy of like a pro high level distance project that has had very good marathon success and sub-marathon success. But like just looking like who cares what I need or what you need, like what the philosophy is and what the focus is during different times of year. Like I'm super curious just to hear. And the reason I'm curious is because of the success. Joel just won, right? You've trained with Joel. And I went back and combed through his Strava and looked at his lead in to like race day. And it was like, although I run half or less of what he does, my race day lead in, I think I ran more mileage that week than he did. It was just like I was like trying to figure out the whole lead in and the whole training up to that point. And all I'm saying is I'm wondering. So can you just like start talking to me about pro marathon training 101 through the lens of Minnesota Distance Elite?
Yeah. I mean, you guys know, like, it's not, there's no secret, right? There's no secret
Correct.
recipe. So I'll walk you through it, but it's not going to be anything surprising to you, or it might be surprising how not complex it is, or there's nothing special or secret going on. But let's just say we're talking about Joel 4 weeks out. I can probably guess what he did. I can give you 4 to 2 weeks. Okay, so starting the week 4 weeks out, and then all the way up until 2 weeks out. So he probably would be around 120 miles that week. He would have hit. So we're usually at Tuesday, Friday, Sunday cycle, and Tuesday, Friday is interchangeable. It's not like one's speed and one's a strength day, but so that just depends week by week. And then Sunday's a long run. Usually that'll be more of like an easy to moderate. We won't usually have anything too structured there, but I mean, there'll be days in the LRT where we have a 20-mile long run and we average 5:30, right? Because it's just easy to moderate. Second half, we start clicking, you know. So Joel's 4 weeks out, he would have probably done, let's say he did like a 12x400, like a light, because he probably would have come off of like a big week and had a big Friday and then a big long run. And then the Tuesday is just like a wake up the legs, 12x400 minute rest, probably like 64, 65s, maybe start 67s, get down to there.
For him, that'd be relatively comfortable, really.
That's pretty comfortable,
Yeah.
right? With a minute rest. That's not pushing too hard. And then that Friday would be the big fartlek, because that'd be about 3 weeks out, a little over 3 weeks out. And so that would be like an 80-minute fartlek. The 3-2 is kind of our go-to. We talked about that before. 3 on, 2 float. And the on's probably for Joel 440. The floats 515. So he might have averaged even sub 5 on that. He probably did 80 minutes, 75 or 80 minutes, like 15 or 16 miles of that.
Well,
and then Sunday would be a big long run after that. So maybe a 27, probably averaging around 6-minute pace. And in between, it's just like normal days, right?
Is the theory, actually, just to interject, just like, let's say with the 3-2 float for 80 minutes, I don't know what I guess his average pace, he ran 2:11 or something at Grandma's. Is that basically like, is that like an over and under marathon pace situation, really, if you just break it down? Like, we're just going over under for him, right? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, well, usually the way we look at it is the pace you average is approximately goal marathon pace.
Okay.
So if he averaged something higher, you put him on a perfect day in Chicago, he probably was in like 209 shape, 210 shape, right?
He ran out of his mind with those conditions, by the way. Like, that's probably the best race of his life, I would assume.
He's good in heat.
Yeah. Huh.
And I mean, he ran 210 in Chicago. He ran 212 in New York. I mean,
he's pretty dialed in right there, huh?
Yeah.
So then, follow-up question on that long run. You said just like a 27, but at 6-minute pace. Where does 6-minute fall in relation to like roughly his aerobic threshold?
I don't know. We never really think about like aerobic threshold. All we really think about is like what's LT pace, what's marathon pace.
So what's LT for
moderate?
him?
LT for him probably be like 440, 445.
In marathon, call it 5-minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
so
he's running a minute
slower than marathon,
which is really comfortable.
Yeah. So he is probably fully aerobic.
Yeah, no, we'll just be talking the whole time and taking down gels and fluids and stuff, no problem.
Yeah, this is the disconnect,
right?
This is the disconnect for people who aren't pro runners listening, thinking they're hammering a long run because they're running a long run at 6-minute pace, which is faster than most people's goal dream marathon pace. But the reality is it's still easy.
It's still fast, right? It's like joyride pace. You're not pressing, but like you feel you got some speed in your legs.
Yeah.
What pace? What was the word you said?
Joyride.
Oh, joyride. That's interesting because I think the next consideration of my next build, because I put an emphasis every other week on like a quality long run with, I might go 22, but there is a quality portion to it. I'm actually considering completely ditching that and going more with a tradition, like almost the schedule you're outlining, leaving the long run more aerobic and just keeping the quality days in separate. I think that could be
That Friday run would be like a total of 22 miles also.
big, right? It's big. Yeah.
That's
Right.
about it.
See, this right here is why the marathon's difficult. Because these aren't
Yeah,
considerations.
you have your 3.5 hour goal.
Yeah, and it's every distance under it, you could argue the half marathon can just be science-based training. Pure and simple. You're not thinking like, how much volume do I need to make this before it becomes a long run? And it's not. Once you get above it, to bastardize completely a Ryan Hall term, like there's some faith-based training in this. Like you have to have a theory and you have to have faith that it works, where you don't have to have that in the distances below. You can just say, this is what current scientists tell me to run at, and I will run at this, and it will make my race better. There isn't really like an undeniable marathon plan. Should my long run?
No, and you couldn't even
marathon.
You couldn't take this plan and try to time conversion it and just run your own paces, because I think most people should never go over an hour for that part. Like 27, that's, what is that, 2.5 hours for us? I mean,
it's a 4-hour run for some people.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't even think you should run a 2.5 hour run, right? Even if your goal pace is 8-minute pace.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can just take these times and convert them to whatever, because that is like a level of durability that's necessary to be able to do that Friday, Sunday back to back, and then follow up Tuesday with a 6 mile closing at 4:20.
Yeah. This is good stuff. This is what I came here for, Tyler. What does your coach, do you know if you were to be like, this is my coach's philosophy? Wait, is there anything that you could speak to on that?
I mean, it's just lactate threshold training, really. It's big aerobic base and lactate threshold training. And I mean, there's, I guess, a good deal of like, you call it like easy to moderate or moderate runs. And it's just totally like, you ask him what easy to moderate means, and he won't even give you a clear definition. Because it's like, you want to start easy, get to moderate? Yeah, that's perfect. You want to be all the way in the easy to moderate zone? That's perfect. It's a lot of those that he'll throw in, especially like early in a build, where it's just run how you feel and get a good run in. And
that
that's
answer
how he's go.
Is what frustrates new athletes I work with, because I'm more on that philosophy versus split hairs and be in this 3 BPM window for this recovery run. And people really like the novices out there have been shoved data, stay in these confinements now. I'm a slave to exactly what my watch is telling me. And it's actually kind of liberating to hear what you just said.
Yeah. I mean, even with the partlex, I mean, nothing's like, it's also ambiguous. It's like your ons 10 to 15 seconds faster than marathon pace, your offs 15 to 45 seconds slower. You just kind of find what works. And when you get tired, your offs end up slipping a little bit, or your ons end up, like, there's so much flexibility on where that workout can end up. I mean, Dakota does it, and she'll go like 5:15s and 5:25s sometimes. You're even varying these.
Yeah. And again, like, this is why it's tricky. But they'll get you to the same place. Like, over prescription is feeding you fish, and letting you feel it out is teaching you to fish. But like, if it's appropriate for you, your stomach's going to be full either way. But finding moderate is an important skill for a lot of people to develop. Yeah. Others must be told, do not exceed this.
Not many people know how to recover at a float effort. Like that's kind of like a new thing you've ever done or like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Standing recovery will get you to the same world record in theory that active recovery will. Like there's never been a study that proves one or the other. It's which one can you execute properly? And that's difficult for people. They just want to hear, here's what we do it.
Yeah. And that changes from year to year, right? You can't even take a template and do that for 10 years straight.
I think that's why pure Norwegian lactate training is so beautiful for people. because it's the closest to set it and forget it of anything that exists out there. At its purest sense, you could do it every single year for a decade. And you may not reach your ceiling, and you might reach your ceiling, but you're going to miss by less than probably any other do it for a decade program. I think that's why it's all the rage for the DIYers right now, because they have to tinker the least. And then you try to do it for a marathon and you better tinker it.
Yeah, that's fair, right? Because you're not aiming for paces. You're just hitting your numbers for your little blood test, and the paces naturally get faster, right?
Yeah, and yet why does Jakob fall apart in the 2 half marathons he's doing? Good.
Yeah,
It wasn't
maybe that's why. Maybe there's other reasons.
It's true, but have we ever seen him really fall apart anywhere else? It's like, no, there's a limit you can extend nothing but lab-based LT intervals to without tinkering one bit on a long run or on a extended. Like, does he ever run more than 40 minutes of quality in a session ever in his life?
Yeah, you know, it's
like there is a limit, and you guys live in the limits.
I wonder though, there's so many variables, right? Because you look at Jakob next to all these marathon guys. Did you watch him in that race? I mean, he looks like he stands out.
Mhm.
He doesn't look like any of these guys, right? So you could even make the argument he's just not a half marathon runner.
Yeah,
because he's too big.
Yeah, I mean, maybe
Yeah.
he's a 59 and not a 57 half marathon runner.
Right.
He's going out with those guys, right? And
Right.
that's why he blew up.
Yeah.
It's hard to, I mean, I probably agree with you. He wasn't doing the perfect training, but it's hard to even nail down what happened there.
Right. We just
He
seen
raced
him
the day
jump
before
in.
the weekend before in that last one, right? Didn't he come off like his?
He ran like 3:28. The 4
the day
days
before,
prior, 2 days
yeah,
prior.
something. Yeah, there's so many factors.
But point is, he's jumped in from we've seen him 1,500 through cross country, not miss a beat, and he missed a beat there. So anyway, I'm just saying, like, it gets unclean every second past an hour.
What I appreciate about this is not that your take when you're offering your opinion, which is what I asked for in like my DMs, right? Like just the conversation we had about this is what I think you might benefit from was your approach. But it's fun to hear you just hem and hoe over like the fact that none of this is in a vacuum and none of this is a guarantee. And right, like it's easy to speak in absolutes and get stuck in what's worked in the past, because why wouldn't you? You have recency bias and you have success bias. Like I took literally the exact same 2 weeks before the half last year, and I felt I could have carried that through the marathon 1 year ago. I took the last 3 weeks almost verbatim, and then I go and I lay an egg 1 year later on the exact same lead-in, and you go, well, okay, now what, right? Like just saying that like the same thing repeated isn't always necessarily the correct formula. I find that fascinating. Why wouldn't it be? Tell me.
I don't know the answer.
We came for answers.
So I have an answer, and maybe not an answer. My answer is to ask Tyler a question.
Well, I have more questions for Tyler too.
Okay, well then mine maybe needs to be saved for later then. So why don't you pick up? Because it's gonna be a long answer from him.
If you were if you're one of the lower mileage athletes, and you will be when you start coming back and rejoining the team, how would that scale for somebody like you and your CIM build? Let's hope that maybe we get there, right? But you're not. I doubt you'll be running 140. Then maybe, but I doubt. Like, so how would you scale what you're talking about when the goal is still the same, 26.2 miles? Well, how would that be scaled?
I don't think it's that complicated. All right, so August will probably be like progression runs and moderates. And I'll start with like 6 mile moderate, 6 mile progression, get up to 10 mile moderate, 10 mile progression. From there, it'll be adding.
Can you explain that a little further? Sorry, just for people.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just falling back in the terms. So moderate just being like ambiguously paced effort, unstructured for 6 miles. Sometimes that's 550, sometimes that's 520. Kind of the range of where that falls. If I'm not fit and I'm by myself, first time back, it's probably going to be more like 545, 550. If I'm with the team, we usually end up clicking. So Joel will drag us along some 515s. but somewhere in there, that's a moderate. Progression is start at, say, 540, get down to 5 flat last mile. And fitness constraints for me as I start, I won't be getting down to 5 flat, but something that I say. So the start of August will be just kind of getting those paces faster and more comfortable, but in a totally unstructured way. So if it's too hard, I stop the progression. I just kind of stay at a pace, whatever the pace comes in the day.
Is that rolling starts? Like you might do a few miles warm up and go right into it? Is it like I'm going to do my dynamics and my warm up is very
Depends on what I'm running with. I'll usually roll into it, but a lot of guys I've seen like just stop and do your open strides.
Yeah.
It depends. So carry that through. The next transition is usually for us like 6 by 1200 with a minute rest, LT base. Probably do like 515 to the first one. I don't know. I mean, 5 flat to 515 range. Pretty light, like on a track. And so this is like, it's not light, but it's like a smooth pace, right? It's not a pressing pace. I'm not huffing and puffing. You just get the minute, you go, and it's just putting in the work. Transition to that kind of thing. And I'll usually probably do that for a couple more weeks where it's like 1200s, 8 to 12 maybe eventually, and then a progression. And then we'll probably start getting into the more real workouts where it's like 3 by 2 mile turns into 3 by 3 mile, turns into 4, 3, 2, 1, whatever, LT. And then probably like a fartlek kind of stuff. And that'll get into like the real marathon type stuff. And then long runs along the way are just going to be getting longer and longer and longer. And mostly that easy to moderate type of run.
So would volume be scaled in like a return from injury progression in you do 6 by 1200, but Joel does 10? Or are you all doing 6 and you're just not filling in it with as much aerobic volume?
No, that's the way our team usually goes. So like if Joel has a 75-minute fartlek and I'm at a 30-minute fartlek, we'll start together. He'll do 75. I'll stop at 30. 3 by 3 mile. He might have 3 by 3 mile, 4 by 3 mile. I'll do 3 by 2 mile. Right. And we probably won't overlap except for like that first rep. Same thing on the tracks. If I have 6, he'll do 8, 10, something like that.
I'm going to be all over the place here, but what is the pressure being included with a squad like Minnesota Distance Elite as the recent injured boy and coming back? Is there a weight that is carried or like, I guess, how does the group make you feel? Like you're with them for the long run, no matter what? Like, is there pressure there? Is there not? Self-imposed?
Not at all. And I mean, our roster's big enough. We have like open practices. So there's a lot of people who come by who are not able to be on the team level, but they're running, I don't know, 68, 72 minute halves. I mean, there's guys that'll come and just run with the girls. Like it's a very low pressure situation. So I don't feel like any pressure that's there is my self-imposed pressure. And that's where I got in trouble in the fall, coming back from the surgery, is I can keep up with these guys. So I'm going to, even though I shouldn't have. Right. And that's kind of why I ended up with the tear again. But yeah, I don't feel that pressure. It's only self-imposed and trying to get fit enough for 215 CIM, and I'm pacing the one in Chicago, so I got to be able to run like a 222 then. So a couple things where I got to get fit enough, but it's not like coach is like, you're going to lose your spot if you don't show up, you know.
So you talked how you're going to scale your sessions, but is volume by feel or is there a prescription there in between?
They'll just slowly build. I mean, I don't think anything too complicated, right? It's going to be my 25 this week, 30, I'll probably be by August, 50, September, 75. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of play that by ear.
You're going to take your time and nudge that up.
This is why I need a coach, right? Because I'm going to get excited and I'm going to try to just, Joel's got 20, I'll run 20. So this is why this is the main reason I need a coach personally. Like I could probably write a plan, but I can't control the demons. So that's Lender writes the schedule and I just follow it.
You can get in your own way with working a little too hard, a little too often, which is, I think, my case as well. So I think having somebody hold the reins back a little bit, you need that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's funny how the quickest cure to a lot of running ailments is to run with a group. And the quickest way to cause some running ailments is to run with a group, like, depending on the situation. And the more talented you are, the harder it is to ever rein yourself in. Because like you said, yeah, I could keep up with the guys for 20. Let's go run 20. Where other people would be like, I can't keep up with that. They don't have the option to. When you have the option to, it's too easy. They're running. How much percentage? Would you say it's a full 10% easier running the long runs with a group than without? Is it more?
Oh yeah, I mean, I can get heart rate. It's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like I can have a 6-minute pace long run where my heart rate's 145 with a group. Do it by myself, it's 160.
Unreal.
I don't even understand how that works. Like,
And you'll be talking the whole time with the 145.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if Tyler, I want to do this with me as well, because I think I have an answer, but I want to do this with you as well, because you're coming back here now. And have you had a relatively, since college, you've had years of health at least? You had some, I mean, you're always with the Achilles, but you put years together of uninterrupted training, right?
Yeah,
Before that?
probably years in a row with
Okay.
mileage at like 4,500 to 5,000.
Oh, okay. So if you take all the learnings from the years, and here we are on the edge of building back for hopefully your debut marathon post-injury, we'll call it, however you want to look at it. But if there had to be tweaks, changes, magic formula, whether it's to the little PT stuff, whether it's to cues you know now to listen to, like, is there anything that you've learned that, like, you believe might need to be done differently to make you available and successful? Or do you think it's run the script again? And what is it for you, I guess? What does Tyler need to do to be successful coming up?
It's the PT stuff. I think if I would have gotten on the eccentric drops 5 years ago and just nipped it, I don't think I would have had the issues I'm having. So I think in general, it's just getting in the gym and doing those small little things, right? It's hamstrings specifically. It's soleus. It's getting the muscle strong, so they're not just pushing their job over to the tendon. I mean, how many people get hamstring attachment points, Achilles? Those are kind of the two big ones I feel like that linger a long time. So yeah, that would just be my answer, right? Just getting in the gym, make sure I'm not. And I've done all like the heavy stuff, right? Like, it sounds like I'm hating on heavy squats. I have a hex bar in my basement with 225 loaded on that. I've done the heavy squats. 225 is a lot for me. Don't make my face hurt.
No, I didn't make that. I was impressed. I was happy to hear that.
But I don't think that stuff actually makes you resistant to injury, like a lot of the studies will tell you. I think it is, you have to hit the specific areas, right? And I need to specifically hit the hamstrings and not just trust that they're getting the right stimulus by doing a hex bar or whatever, Soleil specifically. So that's kind of where I've come around to.
Yeah, so stay on top of the piddly stuff and the prehab, no matter how fatigued you end up getting from training, or how dreadful it is, or how inconvenient it is to go to the gym, and how annoying it is to do your eccentrics. Like, just keep them loaded, keep them used, keep them in working order. So getting ahead of it this time and not behind. Is that really, and then the training will come as it always has? Is that really how you're looking at it?
I think so. I mean, I think it's probably a factor of age too, where I do need to take care of this stuff now where I might not have in the past. But yeah, kind of where I wanted to.
That's another one of those things. Like, it's always worked for me, so it's going to keep working. And that's prehab. Prehab doesn't matter right up until it mattered. But it's never, like, it never tells you in advance, I'm going to matter next year. And we abide by the rules that worked for us. And that is, like, every athlete's blinder is the thing that worked, I will just keep doing. Prehab's my Achilles heel. Sounds like it's yours. It's a lot of people's, because it's piddly. It's not sexy. It doesn't show up as a metric.
Brakken, what do you need to do if you're to be your most successful by the end of the year? What's your intuition tell you that you need to focus on if you want to be your best self? I'm being serious.
I mean, we're on different ends of the spectrum. Mine's like, actually do something every morning.
Okay.
Like, just simply consistency. Yeah, I could get into I need to scale my volume and intensity appropriately early on because I'll want to bite off more than I can chew. But that's not the reality. Is the biggest string of workouts I've had this year is I think 3. Like, that's not training. And I'll be the first to tell you I'm not training. So that would be the number one thing.
So you're more like take the sock out of the tailpipe and the car will start running as it should versus like tinkering with the bells and whistles.
Go out to the garage with the key in your hand first is the fastest way to get that car started. Yeah. I got comfortable in the fact that like I'd pass the torch on to my kids now are the athletes that matter. And then like everything in my life, I take it one step too far. I only find balance by bouncing off the ground. That's the way my life works.
Well, for me, I think if I trimmed up, it's free speed. That's what I think the first thing is for me. That's literally it.
So
there's a balance there.
But now we get to the crux of it.
My intuition tells me if I were to just lay off, I mean, do I need to be benching 5x5s on Sunday for fun with 225? Like, I don't. Like, are you kidding me? Coaches would look at me and be like, you're an absolute idiot. What are you doing? And they're right. But I can't let it go. And so I think my intuition would be Tyler's recommendation in my DMs was like maybe trade out some of that leg work for some plyo and work on your explosive nature and loading that way. And I'm like, yeah, I'm 42 and I can feel that first step is going. And I also am overloading heavy squats and other crap that just isn't benefiting a 2.5 hour.
He's the first person to ever DM you and ask for you to lift less.
That's not true. I've had others suggest it, but I honestly think that's the biggest key for me is like, it's a body weight to engine thing. And I think that could alleviate a number of problems. And I think if I wanted to take it seriously, that would be my key car starter for me would be like, dude, just stay out of the gym, do it right. I know what it's like to be lighter and how it feels. It feels amazing when you're running well. Running at 172 pounds at the paces I'm trying to run is a lot of freaking work.
I think we've arrived at the crux of it, but I don't think it's body weight. I don't think it's lifting. I don't think it's efficiency. I think it's the whole idea of why. Like Tyler would never consider putting emphasis on benching, but you would. Like he wouldn't say, let's see if I can grow my chest size this month.
Have you thought about that ever, Tyler?
I used to do a lot of push-ups, but I was getting a little too hunched, so I had to back off.
Back in your single days, maybe the bench was more important.
But it'll show up. But the reason I say I don't think it's the way is because this is going to show up again in fall. It's going to show up during hunting season. It's going to show up with everything that detracts from the mission of being the fastest marathoner possible is always going to tug you and tempt you harder than it would someone who understands that the marathon comes first in terms of all those things. And I'm not saying Tyler doesn't have balance and doesn't have hobbies and doesn't have things like that. But the difference between a pro and a non-pro is that a non-pro lets other things in, but still values the results the same way a pro does. Or the pro values the results the same way, but does everything in their life for that result. Whereas you do that on workout day. And this isn't me preaching at you. This is just like every person listening to this podcast for the most part is not Tyler. It's us, where we have other things that we knowingly let in to compromise the way because that's our life. But we still then get equally as mad as Tyler would after a bad result. So yes, I agree. You would be faster, lighter with less muscle mass. But I think that it's indicative of the entire decision-making process, which is put pro level expectations on results and performance and quality sessions with normal everyman life cycles. Does that make sense?
I don't think you need to focus on weight. Okay, that fact might be true, but let's just think of like the weekly load. The weekly load you're putting on your body, right? If you did 50% of the weight on all your lifting, your muscles are not going to be as fatigued and you can do more mileage, better workouts, not going to get injured. Even if you didn't lose a pound, I think getting in the gym just thinking I'm activating things today. I'm activating my muscles. I'm teaching my body to recruit muscles and not I'm going to get yoked today. I think then you end up leaving more room for running. You may be able to do more mileage. Just go outside, add on 15 extra miles of 8-minute pace in your week. That's worth something, right? I don't think losing a little bit of pec muscle, that's going to help. But I don't even think that's the only part of this equation where that helps.
I agree with you, but I'm saying
can I also say to Bracken's point, Kirk, I mean, you got like how many more years to run PRs here, right? Like 2, 3, you can deer hunt the rest of your life.
Decades. What are you saying there?
Sub 15, like how many more years can you run a sub 15?
Probably not many. I mean, if you're just looking at reality. Yeah.
So why not prioritize that now?
You're saying I can get jacked in my 50s?
No, he said you missed the closing part of Tyler's statement, which I think is going to highlight this. He said you have the rest of your life to what, Tyler?
To deer hunt. I don't know.
And what is your visceral reaction to that, Kirk?
Well, I'm still deer hunting.
That's a non-starter, right?
Okay, so what?
But I still train to do that. It's not like I let go of everything.
Right, but is it pro level training? I'm not preaching at you. I'm highlighting the difference between someone who is pro in every side of their life versus pro in several aspects.
I'm a lot closer to Kirk than I am to Dakota or Galen.
And that's fair. I'm just using this to highlight the everyman struggle, which is I want this so badly, but I'm also going to train through deer hunting.
Are you getting a feedback or an echo right now? I'm hearing like this some switch, maybe on Tyler's end. Do you hear that?
There's an echo.
You gonna get headphones?
Well, no, it might be a nightmare for Brakken on the editing front. It just happened just now.
I think I can take this out.
You can, okay. I think this is
It sounds like I'm ragging on you.
I love this. This is exactly what I wanted.
Because I've accepted the fact that I'm not going to give in on anything. I'm just going to say I'm doing all the things I want to do in life, and whatever is left over for training, I'll take it. And I will be slower than I have any right to be, and that's fine. Like you're here, Tyler's here,
all is here.
I'm way over here. So this isn't judgment. These are just facts, I think.
You said something interesting in your last message, Tyler, about I kind of want to read it, actually. Do you care if I read it?
I just feel a little embarrassed. But...
No, people think like at this stage, my ego, I have like a big ego, like in general, as like in I think a healthy way. When it comes to this, like ego doesn't get in the way. Like I take criticism very well, like or like somebody trying to help. So like people are worried about like stepping on toes or like giving you unsolicited advice. I'm like, no, please, I'd love to hear from somebody who's done this better than I have. Tell me what you think. So you shouldn't be embarrassed. Okay, so you say. Okay, you said, okay, a little bit of pushback here. You listened to us talk about your response, I think, and then you gave a response to that.
Yeah, I thought you guys were walking on eggshells. You were scared to tell me I was wrong. So next time, come at me.
I think we didn't think you were wrong.
I mean, if we thought you were wrong, we would have said it. It says, I don't think I agree with your baseline philosophy that you're too old and too injury prone and recovered too slow, so you need to do things a certain way. Is it possible you're just running too fast on your recovery days and adding too much stress in other areas, which causes the overuse? Theoretically, if you just ran 8-minute pace, did no workouts and no other lifting or anything, don't you think you'd perfectly healthy running 100 miles a week? That's the way I'd nudge you, eliminating the cross-training activities and just add the bulk and zone 2 mileage. And then you say some things, I get it, you're also training for trail races and all of that. And you made a note about considering incline running on the treadmill as cross training, which I found fascinating. Like you would look at that more as cross training than purposeful, let's say, marathon training, because it's so different from like just like LT pace and the way it feels and the muscle recruitment and all of that. I just want you to elaborate a little bit more on that, because I've never looked at incline running as cross training. That not one time has like been like, oh yeah, that could be cross training. I'm like, that is purposeful training. Walk me through a process. And then you said maybe you're taking more damage there as well.
So I think it goes back to the reason I don't like biking, right? Because the biking makes your quad strong and it doesn't really work your hamstrings very much. I think the incline training is similar, where it's working your muscles in different ratios and maybe making your imbalances worse or fatiguing certain areas and not others. And then you go back to flat running and you're fatigued in certain areas, you're strong in certain areas, and you're not balanced in the way that you can have an efficient flat stride.
Yeah. I mean, that just basically like it's so different compared to flat running that it would be tough for you to rationalize it translating, we'll call it.
Yeah,
And then,
and they for like you trying to run a 224, right? This isn't for like the everyday guy who I'm not saying no one people shouldn't add cross training versus just sitting on the couch, right? And so it's hard to say this on a podcast, and this is like not the message a lot of people need to hear, right? Most people don't need to hear a thing where they need a coach so they don't work too hard. It's not really a relatable concept we're talking about here. But I think at the level you're trying to run a 224, that's kind of a consideration you need to make, where that uphill work is really cross training. It's not getting you to a smooth 520 stride.
what do you think of that, Bracken? We do love our incline treadmill.
I do. I've used this phrase with a lot of the people I work with, if we're trying to deload impact or if they're preparing for certain types of races, but highest runnable incline. And we test it out throughout the year, like during their pre-workout strides and stuff. There's this incline where like, I'm running normally, it changes. And like at that inflection point of my stride is no longer my flat ground running. Like we use flat ground running stride right up until you don't. I don't think it degrades slowly. I think there is a point where I am running my mile stride at 4% incline and I can't at 5%. I think there's like an absolute inflection point for most people if you have good form. If you're like a real hunched weird runner, like you might just gradually, like it switches from running to climbing. And I think that I would do my like Bracken thing and say like, okay, well then let's make a rule for it. Like you can't do it above 8. And Tyler would probably be like, not to put words in your mouth, like just don't do it at all. But I think there is a point where like everyone's point of view would be different on where that is. But I think there's a point where it's no longer applicable to your stride anymore.
I've seen Tyler run uphill, and he don't hill train like I do, and Tyler's gone running uphill, and that's probably his overall fitness and engine. But I've seen you run uphill. Clearly, your flat training translates to at least the hills and the trail races you've done, huh?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I can't really explain that one.
Well,
What do you mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I run hills. I will do hill repeats and stuff. That's sorry, he's at Afton, right? I'm still running like 630 on the steepest hill, right?
Probably.
If you try to put a treadmill at 15%, 730 pace is all out, right?
right.
So I guess it's what Bracken said, right? Where it becomes a whole different sport after a certain level. And I guess I don't even know how high you're doing your recline stuff. But if it is anywhere beyond like 5%, I don't think that's worth your time.
Well, I did a race that David Torrance was in one time out in Tahoe. And we ran I called it a climb. We got out of the valley and we climbed up, and he had a hiccup behind me and he passed me up this, and he was running a legit 10K stride, bounding up this. That was a runnable incline for him. I believe he could do work on that hill and it would translate to the roads for him. If I did work on that hill, I'm probably not getting below 8-minute pace. Guys, it was a different stride entirely that he was able to use up that and I wasn't. So I don't even think it's just like a set rule, like 5% or whatever. It's like whenever you know and you can visually see a stride change, there's a difference to it.
The types of workout, right? Like, so a lot of times we'll do like 12 by 300-meter hills, and that's like an efficiency workout. We're trying to work on efficiency, power, knee drive, all that stuff. And we're sprinting, right? I mean, that's the same form you'd use on land. It's just deloaded, if you want to call it that. We'll also do hills in our long runs. I mean, none of those are all that steep, right? We're never changing our form on those. I guess sure, fine. It comes back to what you said, right? Like, when does your form start to change? And when does it become different?
I'm not saying that's right. I'm saying that's my philosophy on it.
No, and I don't think it's like a specific incline. It's like a paced incline.
For sure. The
right?
faster you
If you're
work,
at 8%,
the more rear chain.
yeah, you can go 8% and be explosive and you're running your right stride. If you're 8% and 4 miles an hour, it's a different stride.
Well, and the only
right?
way to do that is either to take 4-inch strides or take really slow strides on the treadmill, both of which will change how it works. But again, that's not an applicable stride to marathon efficiency. The cardiovascular work would have benefit. But if you don't think your cardiovascular bottleneck is the one that matters the most, I can see why more time at the stride that will have the biggest impact on your efficiency would be a point of emphasis.
Maybe that's where we differ. The cardiovascular crossover.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a crossover.
So
I don't think there's any utility.
we say engine is engine, and you say engine is
Yeah.
not engine. And that's
I don't think engine is specific.
for sure you can't use it without efficiency.
Mm.
And this is coming from a guy who's on the bike and still choosing to be, who says
And he
it's
doesn't
not
think
gonna
he's doing
translate.
engine
So
work there.
I like
Look-
it for fun. I'm literally biking
Yeah.
for fun.
Well, no, I'm saying that it adds validation to what you're saying.
I think the better you are at running, the less you get from anything else. I think the worse you are at running, the more it's going to rise all ships with that tide. And I think if you're coming down to cross training, you're going to have a less impact on your running than if you're coming up to cross training. So if someone who's just starting running and can run 20 miles a week and also does 6 hours of biking a week, my belief is when they time trial, they are going to beat someone who just does their clone who just does 20 miles per week. I believe
That's fair.
that wholeheartedly. But I think if you then have run 100-mile weeks for a decade and one drops down to 50 and does 6 hours of running and one stays there, that person's going to beat the biker 10 times out of 10 as well.
But I think there's a lot of moving parts there, even with the 20-mile weekend. Because maybe that guy is just body composition is the difference.
I'm saying
Maybe
clone.
he's burning calories.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
But yeah, right. Like, he ends up a lower body fat percentage, and that's correlated with running time. And maybe that's the difference. It's not aerobic development from the biking.
So so I'm not debating you. I'm asking a question. This isn't me trying to set you up.
I'm speculating as well.
If we take a look at just like the building blocks and moving pieces of what aerobic fitness is, it's like red blood cells, mitochondria, oxygen transport, these type of things. If they're both built in either type of activity, do you believe that you cannot access those pathways of oxygenation in a different modality?
I think you lose efficiency from the other modality, which is the concern.
True. I agree with that. I don't believe you
I
switch
think
from
you-
biking to running and score the same on your VDOT calculator. Like a 15-minute 5K is not worth a 15-minute 5K equivalent on the bike. For
Lance
sure.
Arm running the marathon,
Yeah.
for example. I mean, his VDOT on the bike is off the roof, and he's barely qualifying for
right.
Boston in the
Everything
marathon.
run, awful. He's overstride.
He looks like he
yeah,
just got
that's
off
what
the
I'm
bike.
saying. Right. The
Yeah.
efficiency piece is what I'm speaking
True.
to. Yeah.
But if you accomplish that efficiency piece, do you believe those building blocks are there waiting for you to be used the same way as if you built them running?
Yes, the aerobic goes up. My worry, and this isn't like, I'm not sure on this. I'm not 100%, but my worry is 20 mile a week runner adds 20 miles of biking. His efficiency actually goes down from if he just did the running. And so maybe the aerobic's going up, but now the efficiency is going down.
Now
Probably
his tight
still work-
hamstrings and all that affect his gait. And then, I get what you're saying. I never thought of it from that angle.
Okay. I can buy that.
It's where I'm living in my belief system.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's right.
Well, and also, I think it's important that you're coming down to cross training.
Yeah.
There's no way for your efficiency to go but down if you remove running.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on 100 miles a week, you don't need any cross training.
Right.
I think it's a cool conversation about like, I think the main takeaway is just like what has always worked doesn't necessarily mean those same puzzle pieces are now what is going to be your formula moving forward. Like what brought Brakken and I to success and brought me from like a bro lifter and a hobby jogger into competitiveness again was incline treadmill and carrying buckets up ski hills and farmer carrying dumbbells down my street looking like a crazy person. And suddenly my 5K went from 1620 to 1540. And I said, aha, I'm carrying buckets up ski hills and I'm running 30% on the incline treadmill. That is my formula. And I got better at that for a while because I did build fitness and was committing more. And I think those old habits, which get you your initial success and big bumps, are easy to defer back to. Tyler's going to do the 3-2 float until he's dead. Okay? Because it's work, right? And maybe one day Tyler has to go and be like, you know what? That's run its course. I need more turnover. This needs to be a 1-1 float or whatever the heck it ends up being. I just think it's like an interesting case study for me to stand here and reevaluate that maybe I'm ready for like the next, not the next, but some tweaks and dial changes if my goals have shifted. I'm not running up 10,000 feet hills at Lake Tahoe with 120 pounds of sand on my back. 30% running on the treadmill, even without that on my shoulders, translates because lower body fatigue matters in situations like that. And 30% running built that. It doesn't matter in a flat marathon. And so like there's a lot of unveiling of like, okay, what can go and what should be added in its place. I think that's the conversation more than anything. And I think it's an interesting, like if I'm going to take anything away, I don't really care what the details are as much as like maybe like grab a different colored pen this time and add a little bit of that in, right? Is it that simple?
Yeah. And I don't think you need to make all these sweeping changes, right? These are just little things you can tweak as you go.
OCR was so good for us. And I don't know if you know our backstory, and we have to go here. I know you have to go and I have to go to the gym, but like, it's so interesting because it did so many good things for me as like an athlete. But if you're going to move away from that type of training, if you were a CrossFitter or whatever, like a lot of those habits do need to go.
All right. We're going to have an analogy here that you didn't see coming. I assume you guys both watched Fight Club or read the book. So do you remember the part when he said Fight Club became the reason for us to trim our nails and cut our hair and all that kind of thing? Like, that's what OCR was for us. I mean, OCR, the buckets didn't make me more fit, but doing a bucket carry made it so that I was also going to go out and run 10 the next day. Like, I graduated college running 28 to 30 miles per week because I ran the 800 meters. And I left that running 18 to 22 miles a week because that's what I knew to do. And then I started training for a sport that could go up to 3.5 hours. And eventually it got my mileage up to 70 miles a week with 10 to 20,000 feet of vertical gain. Now the 10 to 20,000 feet of vertical gain didn't matter, but they kept me available to run 70 miles per week. And the bucket carry didn't help my 5K, but I was running 70 miles a week. So I PR'd my 5K. And I feel like that's Fight Club for us. Like it was the reason to cut our nails short. But now we sometimes think of it like, I need to find a fight, so I'll cut my nails. And that's not the point of this, right? Like, we don't need to run uphill. I believe we need to run uphill, but like in the reality, we didn't need to run uphill to PR a 5K, but running uphill got us back into running. And it's like, it's very much a chicken, egg, cart, horse type of situation. And again, indicative of someone who's not just all in on the singular act of running.
Well, what happens? You show up to and Tyler, I can't imagine Tyler can speak to this, but you show up to your first mountain OCR race and you literally walk away with your tail between your legs, feeling like the biggest POS of your entire life because you crumbled out there and were a shell of yourself. And then you go back to the drawing board and you start figuring out the components you need. You go to grandma's marathon you hobby jog and break down and crack and take a sad bus ride back to the finish line with a bunch of other losers. And then you think, okay, what do I have to do to come back and figure it out? And we had the same experience in OCR. I did anyways. And I imagine the same experience in a linear same stride race for 2.5 hours. It's the same version or different version of the same thing. And I think if you put Tyler on a mountain and gave him an 80-pound bucket to carry, he'd probably go change some things in his training that next week. Right?
Yeah, I've had enough marathons that I've had that experience myself, right?
Yeah.
I've done grandma's marathon 6 times, and 4 of them were bombs. So I don't need to go to OCR to know exactly how that feels.
Okay, so if you just had to bullet point what you would do if you had to oversee Kirk's next build.
We have 4 minutes hard stop.
No sweeping changes seems to be bullet point number 1. Like a lot of it's good. Now, what else would you just say? Bullet point, what do we need to do?
Okay, lift days, 75% your normal weights. You're activating. You're not trying to get stronger. Keep
Time
doing your one
machine
leg.
would be helpful.
What's that?
A time machine. I don't rewind 5 years.
Plyo day. Do Tuesday after you do a post workout lift, a post workout plyos. Start with the plyos. You're just like basically skipping, just crowd reaction. Don't get too explosive with that yet, but slowly progress that. So that's the out of running stuff. Running wise, try to bump up the mileage and just go out and jog. Run 8:30 pace. I don't care. Do that. You have your 2 or 3 quality days a week. If you think you can only handle 2, just do 2. Don't need to hit speed every week. Don't need to hit whatever every week. Long run by feel. And then, I mean, I think your workouts are generally good. You could probably stand to be less pace oriented and more just effort. And whatever, you have 8 miles marathon pace. You don't need to hit that pace. Just hit an effort that feels more comfortable. And come out and run with us. I've invited you so many times to practice, and you keep saying no. This guy.
My gym schedule with the clients in the gym is the hard part. We need to like rejig life a little bit, unfortunately. But that's true. I'm an idiot for not taking advantage of that. When do you guys get together again?
Tuesday, Friday, Sunday.
Kirk, guess what I just am starting up tomorrow?
A run club with the church.
Wednesday track workouts with the Milwaukee High Rocks group.
Come on.
Yeah, they're already doing it. I'm just gonna start joining it. It's it's like a bucket carry. It's a reason to get out and run again. Go take my lumps every week. It's gonna be the hardest effort of my entire week. I'm just gonna go get my butt kicked on the track every Wednesday night. But it'll be a reason to go out for a recovery run the night after, and the reason to go for a shakeout the night before with a few strides. And suddenly that's 3 days of running in a week. And now that's my biggest week this year. So go join
Are you guys
Tyler.
morning? Are you guys in the mornings on those days?
No, we're at night. And I told Lisa.
No, not you, him.
You don't care about me.
I'm not coming to Milwaukee for a High Rocks workout right now. Tyler, when is your first workout back with the team, do you think?
Probably not till next month.
Next month? Okay.
With the girls.
Yeah, that's probably where I'd start, I would imagine. One last question, actually. Okay, and this is like a 60-seconder. As I saw, everybody, I think that some of those ladies have a Puma sponsorship, and so you've seen a lot of the Puma super shoe options. Are those viable shoes? These ladies really like these shoes? They're hideous.
Joel bought a pair, and that's what he
ones.
ran in grandma's.
Even with that stupid inch-long toe flap and the whole thing.
The newest one is.
Yeah.
The
People are
truth.
loving it, huh?
Yeah. So that's what they're saying.
All right.
Fast R3.
Yeah, that's what it is, right?
Supposedly a
It's the
game
four.
changer, Kirk.
I think that's the only missing link in my training is that shoe. I don't think there's anything else. All right, Tyler, did we miss anything, man? I appreciate you taking time. I know that you had to carve this out, and I kind of at last minute asked you to chat this out. And this is really
great. I'll come
selfish
on
of you.
anytime.
All right, see you next week, same time, same place.
Bring Dakota.
Yeah.
She still left me on red. Dakota never got back to me.
Ashley probably gets thousands of DMs.
She's
Yeah.
big leaguing us now.
All right, brother. Well,
Yeah, I'll figure it work.
I'm following you closely. I'm upset that you weren't at Afton. It was a complete gong show. You could have laid it to Danny Doherty.
Yeah, he told me. I was gonna warn you. He told me he was going out there.
But I wasn't there to race, and I didn't. So it was a very good effort for what I wanted. But I thought maybe I could just like sort of jog a win, and that did not happen. So, and it was a T-shirt year, and it's not a bad one. I should have picked it up for you.
Yeah, I paid for the registration and everything.
Did you really?
He did. You know. All right, brother. Well, thank you.
I think I was the first one to register. Actually, it was like January 1st. The second it opened, I was like, I'm gonna be healthy. I'm gonna do it. As it goes.
Shoot.
Next year, all three of us will be there.
Yeah,
I'll be cheering.
Awesome.
See you, boys.
All right. Good time. Thanks, man. Appreciate your time.
See you guys. Thanks.
See ya.